Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And I'm really excited about today's guest, Deborah Snyder. Hi, Deborah.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I am so excited to have you. You are, I've known you for now years since I was involved in NABO. I mean, it's been 10 years since I started being involved in NABO, and I was the president of the Portland chapter, and you were way up there and always like, looking up to you. And when we got connected through other things, through Enterprising Women, so we need to give a big shout out to Monica Smiley.
Yes.
That, then we start talking, we have so much in common. So I said, hey, come here to be a guest on the podcast, because it's definitely, we have a lot to discuss and help business owners with this data and knowledge.
100%. And it's so nice to have someone share the passion with me and kind of talk the talk, walk the walk. So love the work that you're doing, and it aligns very well to what we do over at Cultivate Advisors.
Absolutely. So let me read your bio so our listeners know who you are.
Okay.
And then we start the conversation. Okay, good. So you spent the past 20 plus years working across sales, marketing, community building, and partnership, and just helping connect people. You are an amazing connector, that's for sure. And I think that's really this, the secret to your success. It's just like connecting people and ideas, opportunities that lead to meaningful business growth. I mean, you have the ability, you're one of those people that have the ability to go, oh, that person and that person, connect.
Me all day long. I love that. It's really fun to do. Yes, it's fun.
I always said if I can be like a business matchmaker, that's what I would do.
Yes. Let's create that business. No, I'm just kidding.
No, why not? But that's what you're doing, because you're the senior director of partnership at Cultivate Advisors, and you focus on building relationship and partnerships, and also get to work directly with business owners, which we both love. And you're serious about, the business owners that are serious about growing their businesses in a more intentional way.
Yes.
And you are a firm believer that when you combine passion with purpose, you create the opportunity to grow something meaningful, not just for yourself, but for the people around and the bigger community. So that is so true. I mean, it is, I've done over 500 episodes of the System Simplified. I don't know how many downloads, and, people that have been on the podcast, and the common denominator of successful entrepreneurs is when they talk about purpose. They have something that they find it's meaningful. They're doing something that is meaningful and they believe in. And, both you and I share that, because we're like, we're so passionate about what we do.
Yes. And it's interesting. So I get to ask this question a lot, you can imagine. So a little bit about Cultivate so people understand, if that's okay. Cultivate Advisors has been around for 11 years. And what makes us unique is that all of our advisors, and we have 40 plus advisors right now, have grown, scaled, and sold their companies. So we're very entrepreneurial. We understand what it takes. We've actually been on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing company list for the last 7 years, which is pretty unique to get to 7. And the reason why I like to point that out is, as a company, we talk the talk and walk the walk. So the work that we're doing with our clients and other entrepreneurs, we do for ourselves. And then this idea and concept around enterprise value. And I'll tell you, Adi, I wish I would have known or understood what this meant when I was a business owner. It would have changed how I would have thought about running my business and how I would have thought about spending my time intentionally on growth. And so when I talk to business owners, I do ask the question, other than tell me a little bit about the company, why did you start your business? What was the why behind it? And oftentimes I hear this word freedom. Do you ever hear that?
You know what? We did a survey on over 100 entrepreneurs. We asked them the question, what do you like most about being a business owner? And the number one, 95% said freedom.
So let's back
But then the second question was, what is then all the problems came in. So it's definitely, they want that free. That is what they like about it. That's why they start a business, because you want freedom, but then you become a slave of the business and you just have a high-paying job. Or maybe sometimes not that high-paying, but high hours for sure.
That's right. That's right. And so is the business running you, or are you running the business? But in essence, they were chasing something. They were chasing freedom. They were chasing the financial freedom along with that. And then, yes, as you are wearing your different hats and you go along the way, you kind of get lost and you forget what you were chasing. So the reason why I talk about enterprise value and the way in which we advise, it gives you something to chase again, because you're focused on value drivers that make the business healthy. So financials, sales, marketing, leadership, recruitment, and productivity. And what I love about what you do is that you're coming alongside and helping with putting the right processes and systems in place with these value drivers to then help build an infrastructure that can support the vision of that CEO and that it becomes scalable and repeatable. So
True.
That's what it's all about. If you really want to figure out how to keep score, it's about understanding which levers to push and pull intentionally around enterprise value in your business. And so that's what we do with our business owners. We're working with over 400 businesses right now. They're typically at least $1 million in gross revenue, and it could go up to 15 million. We've worked with businesses larger, but really we're still trying to get that CEO, that owner to be the CEO and to learn.
That's so important. It's so important. So let's talk about your story. You owned a business.
Yeah.
That I wish, I wish I knew what I know now or how I help people right now. So
yes.
Tell us, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you've made if you were a client right now of Cultivate Advisors, you would never do that?
No one's ever asked this question, so now we're getting real. So first and foremost, I give a lot of credit to business owners out there that are a husband and wife team. I own the business with my husband. It was challenging. The good news is we're still married, so that's good. The
good job.
Since has passed on, but we were acquired actually. But so that dynamic can be challenging to begin with. But then, with that being said, as business owners, we become so passionate, and then we have like the good idea, and we start chasing it without slowing down and looking at the financials first. Does the financial modeling support the idea? Does it make sense? Rather than going with gut decisions. We made way too many gut decisions in our business. And then I also hear this from business owners as well. It's hard to find good people. We were no different, because we were actually outselling the business, and we didn't have the right support of the people to do the work that needed to be done. And so once again, sometimes what can happen is you can scale too quickly, and that can be a detriment to the company. And I think that's partly what happened in our situation.
You can overexpand, that's for sure. And all those points are so real, because the listeners that are listening to us right now that are business owners, they go like, yeah, I experienced that as well. And that is the importance of having an advisor that can walk side by side with you, giving you the advice, being there, understanding. So when you're talking to a business owner, it's not like you don't understand what they're talking about, because you experienced that.
Oh, I mean, listen, I was there. What kept me up at night is making payroll, and there were times where I didn't pay ourselves. That's another big mistake. That's a leading indicator that something, obviously, if you can't pay yourself. So, and I don't recommend it. That's one of the first things I also ask business owners is they tell me their revenue. I said, please tell me you are paying yourself. And the answer is typically yes. So that is also important. But, the advice, I always say to business owners, Adi, listen, you will, with grit, because we have that in our DNA. Otherwise, why would you be an entrepreneur? You have to have the grit. You'll figure it out. Just with the right resources, you're going to get there faster and easier. So I just wish I would have had the right resources. That's all.
That's
And
right.
in our case, we really become a business growth partner and we come alongside them and help them implement, execute, and build out the plan so that it's not just, we say, you need to go do this. We're not trying to take their time away. We're trying to give back their time. So we really, in our sessions, we're working on the business together so they can then go out and start to implement the things we're working on. So it's that cadence of working on versus working in the business.
Right. And I think from what I'm hearing from you, there is the working on the business and the tools and the advice that you get, but there is also that partnership and having
Yes.
somebody alongside with you that is interested in your success, but genuinely interested, not
Yes.
in AI that you enter something and they will say, yes, you're doing great, making great decisions, or
Right.
you're so smart. It's somebody that is really invested, but doesn't have that emotional is not emotion they're not emotionally involved in the business, so they can actually guide you through. And that mentorship, that guidance, advisory, whatever you want to call it, is so
Yes.
important that it's also a common denominator of many of the entrepreneurs that I interviewed. So it is having the purpose, but having somebody there that you can trust. When you were
Yes.
running your business with your husband, did you guys have somebody on the outside that was guiding you?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I decided to use our tax dollars at work and use Score at the time, which is a program that I think it's still running. I don't know
Yeah, it
how.
is. It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so these are past entrepreneurs, ironically. So I was on to something back then, and it was actually before Cultivate Advisors was even born, but working with a past entrepreneur and slowing down and we really slowed down with our numbers. So it was helpful as far as getting another set of eyes and just gaining a third party perspective of the business without the emotion involved, to your point. Yes.
And
So
that's very important. That's definitely very important.
yes, yes.
What do you say to people that come to you and they say, well, you know what, I'm gonna just go and have a chat with my favorite AI tool, how to run my business?
Mm. Listen, I think AI is here to stay. It's a tool and it's a resource. Uh, will it ever replace the human connection? Absolutely not, unless your company, I guess, we were talking about this, is run by a robot, I guess. But the human connection is not something that can be replaced. And there are things in our business, I hope, that still need the human connection. So the way that we can use AI is that we can create tools and resources probably faster than what we did before, but someone still needs to execute and implement and track what is happening when it comes to then the implementation and the execution. So it's a great tool and we definitely use it with our clients, but it doesn't replace what we do. It enhances what we do.
That's exactly right. And the same thing applies with us. I just interviewed several um, owners of marketing agencies. So it's not like the marketing agencies are going to go away. It's
Right.
yes, you can create a website using AI, but first of all, you have to have the expertise because otherwise it will not be a good one.
Yes.
You have to have the time. And
Right.
as business owners, we don't have the time for it. And you need to know what works and what doesn't work. So yes, if you can use AI tools, and we use it all the time, and we try to stay top of the line on it and the most advanced technologies, but you still have the ability to, you need the ability to understand what is important, what is not important. So that's very important because you can have many tools. But if you go
Right.
to a busy entrepreneur and you give them 20 tools, I mean, guess
Yes.
what? Well, they're going to
Yes.
apply zero. So how about if we go, okay, which one do I apply first? This is the most important one. Let's do that. And
Exactly.
then they know where to start. But when we implement, we are not robots. We have emotions. We do not like every single time going to do the same thing over and over. We are going to be
Right.
tired. We're going to be upset. We're going to say, I don't feel like doing it. I'm quitting. And you need somebody there to actually be there as a partner and push you along. And those are the
Yes.
things that are very, very important. And they are also here to stay. And it's
Yes.
important that us as humans will maintain it. That's why when you are connecting people, I mean, that human connection is so important more than anything else.
Yeah. And I think, you mentioned NABO, and I want to give a shout out to
Yeah.
NABO, and that any organization where you have the opportunity for peer-to-peer support is also part of this equation. And I think that, being able to, the best of all the worlds is that you're involved in some sort of organization where you have peer-to-peer support, and then you have the right resources and people on your team, whether it's a Cultivate Advisors or it's your company or within people on the team that are coming alongside you and that have then the ability to help make your vision come alive.
That is so true. So
Yeah.
true. And it doesn't mean that it's one instead of the other. I mean, you can be part of a peer support group, which is very needed. And you can
Yes.
also have mentors and advisors. It all goes together. I think the main thing is that you have to surround yourself with people that you trust, people
Yes.
that you know that have your best interest, and that you're all going in the same direction, that the goal of where you want to end at is very clear to everyone, and everyone is rowing in the same direction to get there.
100%. 100%. And I always say I like to surround myself with people that are much smarter than me. That works for me as well.
That
So,
works for me better because
yeah,
then
right?
I'm challenged, then
Yes.
I'm learning, then I am not frustrated, and then
Yes.
I go like,
Yes.
okay, how can we figure it out? So it's exciting actually.
Yes, it really is. It is. It's great to wake up every day and understand that the journey is how you continue to evolve. And evolving is being flexible and adaptable to change. And we know that as entrepreneurs. And being able to quickly make changes. We use the word pivot, but make changes when we need to. So
That's
yeah,
exactly right.
yeah,
That's exactly right. Debbie, people want to get a hold of you. They
yes.
want to now call you and talk to you about cultivated advisors, about whatever they want to talk to you about. How
Talk
can we
about
do
life.
it?
Yeah. No, listen, I'm a big believer, and you know this about me. Good people should know good people. I'm open to a 30-minute initial call. Thank you for asking about that. We have the opportunity in Cultivate where there are some resources that we give up front before we even engage with our clients. And we do that for a couple reasons. First and foremost, we believe the world is made better by entrepreneurs. So we give back to the community. We were all entrepreneurs. We know what it takes, and we know it's not easy. So we give back. And the way we do that is we do a health and value assessment, which is a light appraisal for your business. It's not a formal evaluation you take to market, but it starts to tell you what is your business worth. When I was a business owner, I had no idea what that was. And then we start talking about enterprise value. And there's questions that are very specific around those value drivers, financial, sales, marketing, leadership, recruitment, and so on, to see where you're at, just to gauge. We could then potentially follow that up with a 2-hour deep dive strategy session with one of our advisors, someone that's grown, scaled, and sold, to give you a third-party entrepreneurial perspective and start to build out a growth roadmap through this lens of enterprise value. It's also a vetting process. We're vetting you, you're vetting us, and we're seeing if we could make the impact and have the ROI. And then at the end of that, we decide, should we work together or not? And not everyone does on both sides, but at least you slow down, you got some clarity and some perspective from another business owner, and it's a win across the board. So please reach out to me. I think we'll put my call calendar link in there. You can schedule a 30-minute call. I'll walk you through it. If anything, as Adi said, I'm a connector. I spoke to someone earlier today, and not a good fit for us, but I'm making other introductions for her, I should say, because I have an ecosystem. So I'm happy to open that up and support you any way that I can.
That's fantastic. Okay, good. So we will do that.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you so much for being a guest on this podcast. This has been a great conversation. And thank
I
you for being
appreciate it.
so honest and basically sharing your story, because it inspired others. We have to go through our own in order to be able to then help others genuinely.
100%. And thank you for the opportunity and all the work that you're doing. And looking forward to hearing this back and sharing it so others can learn from both of us. So appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.